This week, our foreign resort report comes from the south of Portugal in the area known as the Algarve. It's a popular tourist destination for Britons, even in winter, and it's a 3-hour flight to Faro with its comfortable modern airport. Our report includes Portimão and Lagos, but is centred on Praia de Rocha, about an hour-and-a-half's drive from Faro. The travel brochures claim the beaches are glorious, but are they right? Dozens of steps lead down to the beach, which is mainly used by families. The shallow water's edge is ideal for young children. It's also very quiet, no loud radios here. The 1.5 miles of beach are cleaned regularly. It holds the EEC blue flag for cleanliness. The sand is fine and golden. Few people sunbathe topless. Nudism is forbidden. Parasols and sunbeds are plentiful. They cost about £1 a day. We found water sports limited. Water skiing is about £40 an hour. Praia de Rocha town looks very modern with tall concrete buildings along the seafront. Prices are reasonably cheap, but do buy film and suntan lotion at home. Local produce is also cheap, making self-catering easy. Most hotels and apartments are only minutes from the beach, and the newer buildings, some still under construction, are on the outskirts of town, but there's not much noise. The builders have run out of money. Generally, the town feels more like a city than a resort. You'll find a few timeshare touts, but they won't ruin your holiday. Having a car is not essential, and local rates are no cheaper than if you booked in the UK. Other methods of transport are also cheap. Local taxis charge about 40p a mile. Armed with those facts, a bottle of suntan lotion and a camera crew, we asked Andy Crane to tell us what he thought of the area.
Praia de Rocha actually means Beach of the Rocks. Unfortunately, that also means you've got to negotiate the rocks to get to the beach. I hope you're feeling fit. Let's go.
Mind you, once you've made that steep climb down, I'm sure you'll find it's worth it. Everybody seems to crowd onto a narrow strip by the water's edge, and it can get a bit hazardous at times. So, if you want to be on your own, just walk a few feet back, and you'll find masses of golden sand all to yourself. It's not called Beach of the Rocks for nothing, and if you're prepared to double up a bit, there's a treat in store the other side of this headland, a secluded cove. But shh, keep it to yourself. I reckon that in a few years the town's going to spread from this one street close to the beach. When I was there were a lot of building sites, which didn't make the view too pleasant. It doesn't feel very Portuguese, but at least they don't sell kiss-me-quick hats.
Nah, they won't match me curtains.
Mind you, there are some picture postcard views to snap, if you're prepared to look for them.
There are lots of really pretty golf courses dotted all over the Algarve. Obviously the sport's popular in summer, but you can play here in the winter as well. If, like me though, you're not a keen golfer and haven't got your own clubs, you can hire some for the day.
Now what does Nick Faldo do? Eye on the ball and swing.
A 504-yard hole-in-one? Believe that, you'll believe anything. After golf, the most popular sport in Praia de Rocha, besides lying on the beach, has got to be fishing. Now, there are lots of different types, of course, but if you want to reenact a scene from that well-known film about the shark, then go for deep-sea fishing. We're about an hour off the coast at the moment, and it is seriously choppy. They say we could catch fish up to anything up to 6 feet in length, but if I catch anything at all, I'll be really pleased.
Can't catch anything without bait, mind you. This bit's not for the squeamish. Okay, cast off. And then it's the best bit about fishing anywhere. Just sit back and wait. Hang on a second, I think I've caught something. It's a shark! It is, it's a shark! It's a 2-foot shark, but it's still a shark and I caught it. Yeah, I think we better throw that little one back. Well, I think after that experience, I've decided the easiest way to catch fish is to order it in a restaurant. And on the subject of local food, meals here will start with bread and this stuff, sardine pate, which is caught locally. As a starter, you'll get melon with ham. And then choice of a main course, you could have halibut like this, or perhaps more typically cataplana, which is kind of a local clam casserole. This amount will cost you about £12, but will easily serve 2 people. And then a nice local dessert to finish. This is almond cake. And very nice it is too. Praia de Rocha is a suburb of the fishing town of Portimao. Sardines are the main industry here, and you can eat them barbecued at the quayside. Again, the town doesn't feel very old, but the shopping streets are good and they have good quality clothes at reasonable prices. But it's thirsty work, all this wandering around. Hello, I've never tried pork before, so I thought while I was in Portugal, now would be the time.
Okay, please.
Impressive so far, thank you very much. Here goes. What a connoisseur. It's very sweet, isn't it? You'd think I knew what I was talking about. It's sweet. Quite like it, though. You'll find the real Algarve at Lagos, about half an hour away. It's worth coming here for the boat trips around the sea coves. The town is truly unspoilt by tourism. In the cafe-lined streets are shops selling the Algarve's trademark, hand-painted tiles 200 years old. But try getting that in your hand luggage. Lagos has a sad side too. The slave trade started here. The world's first slave market is now an art gallery with paintings about that time. If these walls could talk. There are, of course, lots of different ways to see the real Algarve, but one of the most popular ones is to get off the main roads and get onto the dirt tracks on a jeep safari like this one. Let's go, Thomas. For a day-long trip like this, you'll have to shell out £20. And to be honest, once you've seen this, you've seen it all. But after a hot, dusty drive, there's no better way to cool off than to drip, drop, slide, and... Brilliant! As a way of rounding off your holiday, rustic Algarvian evenings like this are very popular with families, probably because the nightlife in the town isn't up to much. In fact, there's not much to the town itself at all. Praia de Rocha is really a place to visit only if you're into lying on the beach all day. But if that's what you want, I think you'll be more than happy.
And now our verdict on Praia de Rocha. The plus points include the long and sandy beach. There's plenty of room to be on your own. It's also ideal for families, and we found most prices below those of home. On the minus side, we think the town is disappointing, and the building sites are not very scenic. Now, how much does it cost to get there? Scheduled flights to the Algarve from London with Air Portugal or British Airways cost £226 in August. A charter flight costs from £167. 2 weeks flight and room-only packages start from around £330. Now the weather in Praia, and John Thorns is with me once again. John, it looked really nice.
Yes, Penny, the Algarve has a superb summer climate, and it's the warmest, sunniest and driest part of Portugal. And it has a very long season. It runs right the way from April through to October, and it's not too bad the rest of the year either. But the Algarve really has a reputation for sunshine, and with good reason, because there's more than 8 hours of sun throughout the season, and 12 hours in June, July and August. And the maximum temperatures are good too. They range from 20 degrees in April through to 28 degrees in July and August, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just right. It's just comfortable. And consequently, there's not much rain either because of all this sunshine, and only about 7 rain days in April and October, and virtually nothing the rest of the summer.
Is there any relief from the sun?
Well, there is a cool sea breeze and often winds as well off the Atlantic, which can keep you cool. But that can be a little bit misleading, because if you are going to spend all day on the beach, you've got to be very careful that you put lots of suntan lotion on and keep the kids covered as well.
And what's the sea temperature like?
Well, very good. I mean, it's a south-facing coast, and it's the best sea temperatures in Portugal, and it passes the rule of toe test from July right the way through to October.
So where do you put it on the comfort chart?
Well, it's excellent, and in fact, if you were to try and design a climate for summer, then you'd end up with something like this. And it gets right up into the excellent category and is pleasant throughout the season. And it's the best resort, actually, that we've looked at throughout this series. And for comparison, also, I've plotted Santander, which we looked at a couple of weeks ago, and you'll see that although that's just on the North Iberian coast, not too far away, it's almost a class behind as far as the comfort chart's concerned.
John, last weekend you told me it was going to be hot and dry and it poured with rain on my head. What are you going to predict for this weekend?
Well, it's going to be hot and sticky this weekend, Penny. You may get a bit of both, yeah, hot temperatures, but there's also a chance of thunderstorms. But down in the Mediterranean, it is going to continue to be dry and hot, and temperatures about 28 degrees in the Algarve, 28 in Rome, and perhaps a chance of some rain also in Greece at long last, but a temperature of about 30 degrees. But further north in Paris and Belgium, it's going to be more of a chance of thunderstorms, and some of those thunderstorms may creep into southern England. But basically, it's a north-south divide in the UK, hot and sticky in the south, and cooler and cloudier in Northern Ireland and Scotland.
I'll believe you. Thanks, John. Now our UK mini-guide, and this week we're looking at the Gower Peninsula, part of the coastline of South Wales. The peninsula is 7 miles wide and 10 miles long, and the nearest city is Swansea. It's on the M4, approximately 60 miles from the Severn Bridge. By rail, intercity trains take less than 3 hours from London, and it's also on the National Express coach network. As well as Swansea, we'll be looking at Mumbles, Rosalie Bay and the peninsula itself.
The Gower Peninsula is one of Britain's areas of outstanding natural beauty and is divided in two by Cefn Bryn, a hilly area of common grazing land with beautiful views of the surrounding countryside. If you're driving in the area, take note of the road signs and proceed with care. The local livestock don't know the Green Cross code. Another obstacle you'll come across whilst driving is oncoming traffic. Some roads are narrow and windy with few passing places. If you prefer walking, the South Gower coastline provides some spectacular scenery. Parts of the coast are owned by the National Trust, who have a shop and information centre at Rosalie Bay. At the end of the bay is Worm's Head, named after an Old English word for sea serpent. It's possible to walk onto the head, but do check the tide times, as you could get completely cut off. The beach at Rosalie is one of the best on the peninsula, with 3 miles of beautiful sand. However, access is by a steep path, making it difficult to reach for some. But once you're there, you'll have plenty of room to enjoy yourself on the beach and in the sea. Beachside facilities and easy access make the sand at Caswell Bay more crowded. The beach is clean and good for children, but at low tide, it's a long walk to the sea, which is regularly patrolled by lifeguards. To the north, the coastline is very different. Miles of flat marshland flank the river Locher, and on a clear day you can see the town of Llanelli some 5 miles away. Oystermouth Castle once guarded the entrance to the Gower. It's a natural amphitheatre, so nowadays it's used as a venue for music and drama. The castle site dates back to the 12th century, when a timber fortification is thought to have been built here. Its situation now is peaceful, as it stands in the middle of the seaside town of Mumbles. The Mumbles themselves are 2 large rocks at the end of the bay, where you'll also find Mumbles Pier, a good place to fish from and the home of Mumbles Lifeboat. The promenade stretches for over 4 miles, and you can hire cycles built for 1, 2 or even 4 at a cost of £6 an hour. From the promenade, you'll see the latest water sport to hit the bay, parascending, and you could of course have a go yourself, and with the sophisticated winching system, you don't even get wet. On the other side of the bay is Swansea, an industrial town which has recently undergone a facelift. The latest accomplishment is the Marina, an exclusive development which has won several architectural awards and makes an excellent background to enjoy a sunny afternoon. The Marina also houses Swansea's Maritime and Industrial Museum, with free entry. A rather unusual building can be found at the Park Tower shopping complex. Plantasia is a £3 million hothouse full of tropical and subtropical plants such as date palms, banana trees and cacti, all from climes rather different to those of South Wales.
Right back, put your thumb under your jaw there.
Students of toxophily, otherwise known as archery, can be found at the Klein Farm Activity Centre. This is one of many centres for pony trekking on Gower and is suitable for riders of all standards. A new challenge to conquer is indoor rock climbing. Expert tuition is always on hand and safety equipment is provided. However, the highlight of the centre has to be the muddiest assault course in the world, don't bother packing your Sunday best. The pigs at the Gower Farm Museum don't have to worry about cleanliness. The museum is ideal for families with young children who'll have hours of fun playing with the resident animals, some more familiar than others. If you're lucky, you could find a local craftsman at work. Wood turning and weaving are very popular, and their wares are usually for sale. A different kind of turning goes on at the Blue Light Disco, held at the Cinderella nightclub in Mumbles every Tuesday night. It's run by the local police, and all the profits go to charity. The drinks served here are non-alcoholic, as it's only open to customers between the ages of 14 and 18. Somewhere to dance the night away. Well, to 10 o'clock at least.
Now our tips on the Gower Peninsula. We think the best thing that's free are the beaches. The sand is clean and the sea is particularly good for surfers. If the weather's bad, head for some heat at the Plantasia hothouse. The temperature's at least 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a fact sheet on the Gower. It's free, just send us a stamped addressed envelope. I'll give you the address later.